All right, so we're tearing the back deck apart here, the package shelf, whatever you want to call it, rear deck. First you pull off these little side bolsters. You just grab them at the top and pull, and those little white clips right here, that's what holds it in place. And then there's a little slot down here on the bottom corner on the outside. You can kind of see it right here. It's a little tight fit for me. Right there, it fits into here, and then it just clips in up here. Pull those out. Then there's some T40 up here at the top. You'll see these things are mounted up there. It's for your child safety seats. There's a little cap, you pop it up from the back, and then down inside there's a little T40. T40, looks like that. Just take the 3 of those out, and then after that, we're gonna take our speakers out, and then you pull these little pins up here. So I'll do one that you can kind of see how to do it. Take and pop that center section out. Just pop that up, and then get underneath this. Pull that out. You just go and strip all those. Pull your seatbelt fasteners out, and then you got to pull your seat pillars out. Behind the airbag sign, there's a bolt. You pull that bolt out, and then that should pop out, and then the rear deck comes out. And then we're going to put some new speakers in. So I will be back once that's all done. So I figured I'd try to get this on video, taking these out, these seat pillars, because it's a little bit different. So you pop your little tab off here that says airbag, and then you want to go and kind of get underneath this and pull the beginning of this out. And then inside here there's some little clips. I pulled the first one off, so I'll show you what those look like. So it sits up there like this, and those 2 clips are those metal tabs that stick out. Those ride in these little grooves right here. So you want to pull that out, and then you just slide it up, and then the whole thing just falls out. It's pretty simple. And I already got the speakers taken out. Got all these little tabs taken out. Those are taken out. So once that's done, and I pop these out as well for the seat belts. Those are pretty easy as well if you've never done it before. There's a little split here in the center. I use a little pick, and you just stick a pick in the center part, because that's where all the little hooks are at, and you'll pry up the center and then pull that one side out, and then pry up the center of the other side and pull that side out, and then the whole thing just falls down. So back to this, we just slide that out, and then you just grab it like that, kind of tug up on it a little bit. This side's kind of stuck. It's hard to do with one hand too. There it is. I got them both out. And the back one's still in there. There. But it just got hung up on that back. This little back one here got stuck back up in there. So that's that, and then the next step is to pry this lip out here. And up she comes. So there'll probably be a little clip in there or something holding this in. I'll have to take a look and see what I can find. And then I will update. Alright, so I had to pop the bottom seat out so that I could get the seatbelt brackets off. So you just lift, there's these big clips here, and then once you get that up, you just pull the whole thing out, and then the seatbelt will run down and it bolts on right here on both sides. So there's one over there as well. That was a T50 Torx. You just do those, and then you feed it through, and then when you get your whole rear shelf out, that's the foam that BMW puts in, so we'll end up cutting that out because I'm putting bigger speakers in than the factories. So here's a little tiny ass 4-inch factory, and then I've got a little tweeter back here too. So my speakers worked fine, I just wanted something better. So this is what's in here right now, or was. And they did it the cheap way, so they send a full signal to the main speaker, and it clips into one side, and then the other side feeds out with the tweeter. And they just have like a little blocker on there. So, but we're gonna head in, and so there's the seat, and we're gonna strip all this down. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna strip all this down, and then we're gonna put in some Polks. They're 5 1/4, so they'll look way better. And I'm gonna modify the stock holes and then back it with some MDF. So I went and picked up some 1/2-inch MDF, and we'll make some speaker rings out of that, and then get it all rewired back in. So I'll be back once I get this stripped down and go through the process a little bit. I got most of that, it looked like carpet padding off in the foam. Got most of that off. I'm gonna go through, clean this up, because after we make our new speaker brackets here, we're gonna put some sound deadening on the back of this. That way we get all the sound to come through instead of losing it with vibration and this cheap crap, because this stuff's pretty flexible. So put some nice good speaker backs on here that'll make it more sturdy. And then we'll use the factory grills. So the 5 1/4 will actually take up the majority of this space, but we'd have some gaps, so we're gonna fill it in and actually make it look pretty decent. So, or attempt to. All right, so I got all the foam and glue off for the most part. This was probably the most time-consuming part of this entire thing, was getting all this off. There's a few spots I left on here like this, because I'm going to probably end up cutting most of this out and then backing it with some MDF. But that's it so far, so I'm going to flip it over, get my design kind of figured out where I'm going to put these. So I ended up going with the Polk DB Plus, so they are actually waterproof. They're marine certified, and they're kind of a higher rated from what I could see, and they have a pretty good sensitivity. So I believe they were 100 watts RMS, something like that. So kind of a lower profile. Yeah, 100 watts RMS. So pretty decent. Silk dome tweeters, rubber surrounds. I mean, pretty decent little speaker. So put these in, and with the higher sensitivity, I can run it off the stock amp until we get the amp replaced as well. So this is going to be our first step in getting the whole sound system done. So we're going to do the front ones as well, but we're going to have to modify the doors. So I will get this laid out, cut out, and then pick up with you here in a minute. Okay, so what I did is I took the speaker and I flipped it upside down. So we have our layout. It'll sit something like that. But we're gonna flip it the other way, obviously. So it'll sit like that, or like that. But this is how our cutout's gonna be. So I gotta take the Dremel and cut all that out so we can mount our MDF ring on there. So I kind of started on this side, went through, Dremel cut through this nicely, so got that lip cut out and that. So I'm going to go back through and kind of cut out a ring on this, and we'll kind of go from there. All right, so I got these MDF speaker rings made. I did double layer of 1/2 inch. I don't have a router table, so I freehanded it with the router. It's not wanting to zoom. There we go. So the first one fits down in there, and then the second one just fits, obviously, for the speaker to mount to. Had to modify this a little bit. It looks a little sloppy, but I wanted to leave as much material as I could, and it was kind of an odd shape, so made it a little difficult to cut out and keep all that on. So it's glued on, and then I stapled it as well. And did both of these, that way it'd flush mount, and I've test fit it. So this is what we're looking at once we get the speakers in. And then I'm gonna retain the factory grills, so when it's all done, it'll fit just like that. So you won't be able to tell that there's actually been any modifications to it, but it'll sound way better. So what we're gonna do next is get these all set up to go in. I gotta do some soldering on the wiring so I can get the little pieces on. And I'm going to put the sound deadening on the back of this to keep it from rattling and help with getting the sound through. So make it a little bit more rigid. And then I'll have to modify the foam on the inside of the rear package panel too, underneath where this would sit, because before they had like where the 4-inch would go, and then there's like a foam pocket, and then there's a little foam pocket for the tweeter, so there's like a big divider that sticks up. So I'm gonna have to go in and cut that down so all this will fit in there. Other than that, it's just about done, and go back together. That way I can test it out and see how it sounds. So I'm gonna finish up with this, get that all put back together, and then I'll catch up with you here in a minute. Okay, so I got the back speakers done. I'm out driving, see how they sound. I turned them on last night, just didn't get the video camera out. The game was on, so I wanted to see how it sounded. They fit really well. Everything got back together. It looks factory. I don't know if you can see it back there. Can't tell anything's going on, but here's a little, oh, they just changed songs here. 1 second here. So it doesn't sound too bad. This is a lot of vocals on this one. Not too bad there. There's another song. This is just random crap on the radio. Actually sounds like it has a lot more bass now. The vocals are a lot more clear than what they even were. So it's worth it. I'll try to put some different links and wiring things, because there's a few different systems, the Logic 7 and the Non. I want to say there's 4 different systems. As far as your speakers go, I see some people online saying don't change your stuff out. They know nothing about what they're talking about, because it does make a big difference. You will have to modify some things, because there's not many options available as far as what you can put in for those little 4-inch with the tweeters. I know that Focal makes like a $700 system, but not everybody wants to put a $700 set of speakers in their car. So I want to say mine were like $100, something like that, for the 5 1/4s, and they sound amazing. So I'm planning on doing the front ones. I'm gonna modify the doors though, that way you can see the actual speakers in the doors. When I do that, I'll upload that video as well. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you have questions, make sure you put them down below. Please like the video and subscribe. I greatly appreciate that. And again, thanks for watching.